The Taoiseach should not seek to minimise the impact of the job loss situation by relying on percentages. It's no comfort to people in Bosch and Lom to feel that when they lose their job, they represent a lower percentage now of unemployment than they would have in the 1980s. 350,000 plus unemployed. We've never had that before. It's the highest number of people who are out of work in the state ever. It's 200,000 extra people out of work since the date of the last general election. 200,000 extra people out of work is 4 billion in cost to the public finances. That's your problem. The problem in the public finances is directly related to the numbers of people who are losing their jobs and continuing to lose their jobs. Now, what I don't think we can have at this time is information being provided to us on a piecemeal basis. We have the level of unemployment today that we now know. We have the figures that were supplied to the opposition spokespersons on finance this morning, which, as Deputy Kenny says, suggests that in the order of about €5 billion has now to be found. There are two additional pieces of information that I would like to get from you this morning. First of all, what is your projection for the number of people who will be out of work by the end of the year? Because I think we need to see this on a total year basis. What is your projection for that? And what is the additional cost to the public purse of the additional people who will be out of work? Secondly, for the first time this morning, you described what the government is now going to do as the introduction of a supplementary budget. Can you tell us the date on which that supplementary budget will be introduced? Well, Ken Corda, that answers half of the question that I asked, and 450,000 plus unemployed is a really, really shocking prospect. And I think that what we have to do is not just address the problems in the public finances, but address very urgently what can be done to get people back to work. And secondly, what can be done to provide education, training, meaningful occupation for people who are coming out of work. The prospect that we would have approaching 500,000 people unemployed in the country is really a frightening prospect, and I think that that requires very urgent and very serious consideration. Now, I'm disappointed, Taoiseach, that you haven't told the House when the supplementary budget will be introduced, because it is important that we know that. There's no point, I mean, it's fine, and I understand the optics of it, of inviting the opposition parties to make submissions and go in and be briefed and get costings and so on and so forth. But you know, you've been in government for 12 years, and you're asking the opposition now to come up with solutions in a matter of weeks. And I think it would be helpful. I think it would be helpful. I think it would be, please. I think it would be helpful if we knew how many weeks you had in mind. The other aspect of this, how many weeks? I mean, when is the supplementary budget going to be introduced? I think we should be told that, Taoiseach, and stop dancing around it. One of the things I think that certainly I'm concerned about is the extent to which yourself and your government are on top of this. I mean, on the public finances, you've had 5 different goes at it now. You had one in July where you said it was 400 million. You had the October budget where you said it was in the order of about 2 billion. You then had an announcement of further cuts in December. You had the further announcement, the levy and so on, in February, another 2 billion. And now we have another budget. Your Taoiseach last week told the country that the public finances were under control. Within a week, we have an announcement of a supplementary budget. To be fair to the Taoiseach, she's not the only one. Exactly a month ago, here in this House, when I was asking you questions about the then unemployment figures, this is what you said. You said to impose a further tax burden at this point in the cycle would depress demand even further. And you went on to say that that was not an option that you wanted to consider. Now, the difficulty, Taoiseach, I think that we all have is that from month to month and from week to week, your position and the position of your government in relation to the public finances appears to be shifting. And what that leaves, I think, all of us with is a sense that you don't have this, that you're not on top of it, that you're not, that, you know, and the extent to which information is being presented to us on a piecemeal basis, I think, is contributing to that degree of uncertainty. So again, I ask you, Taoiseach, we now have finally managed to extract from you the admission that the government will be introducing a supplementary budget. You have now told the House that, in effect, that unemployment will be over 450,000 by the end of the year. When are we going to have? What is the date, or have you set a date yet for the supplementary budget?